This is the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where it's all about getting the information you need from successful leading marketers to build and grow your digital marketing agency. Brought to you by Itamar Shafir, founder and CEO of Umbrella, the technology platform and brand that is powering thousands of marketing agencies around the country. Find him at umbrellaus.com. Now, here's your host, Kevin Pruitt.
Our guest today is the founder and CEO of Rivalflow, improving existing content using AI and launched in 2023. He's also the CEO and founder of SpyFu, a leading competitive research tool for marketers and entrepreneurs with over 15,000 paid customers and hundreds of thousands of free users. SpyFu was launched in 2006 and has been a profitable and bootstrapped company for more than 20 years. He's a happy founder who splits his time between leading his business and personal pursuits, which includes surfing and spending time with the family. He is still passionate about innovation, search, marketing technologies, big data, SEO, and AI, and always working to create new ways to help smaller businesses succeed. Please join me in welcoming Mike Roberts, a repeat guest, one of the very few we've ever had on the Marketing Umbrella podcast. Mike, thanks again for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I'm great. It's great to be back. And when you reached out, I didn't realize what podcast it was, but yeah, I totally remember being on with Itamar back. I think it was just directly with him, right?
Yes, it was, and he was the initial or the original host of the podcast, and I have stepped into those shoes, and they are far too big for me to fill. So, but yeah, like I mentioned before we hit the big red record button, I said it's always. Rarely do we ever have somebody on again, but it's a whole new world for you. So this is a perfect time with bringing you on. But man, that intro was probably, some of it may have been dated and some of it may have been current, but just round it out a little bit. What else does our listeners want to know about Mike Roberts?
Well, hey, so I think you pretty much nailed it in terms of I'm mostly known for SpyFu. I've been doing that for a pretty long time, very successful company. We're obviously moving that, keyword research and SEO and paid search and like sort of large language models. And that combination is really exciting. And it's really kind of shaking things up, right? Like Google's, got a lot going on. That's not, great and not necessarily, but chaos is a ladder in a weird way, to quote, I guess, Game of Thrones.
Love it. No, so I was just going to ask you this, the whole idea that, one thing you did mention to me is that, hey, the last time you were on here, it's like AI wasn't even a thing. I mean, the whole idea, and now it is the thing, not a thing. It is the thing that is kind of driving the whole marketing world right now. But talk about just the need for creating Rivalflow. And, it's so often, and this is, I know this is true of this case too, that, products are created and companies are created out of the internal need of the entrepreneur themselves so often. And,
absolutely. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Like, so Rivalflow, solves this kind of fundamental problem with that SEOs or really small business owners or business owners in general feel, right? Like your most annoying competitor, stole your number one spot and kicked you off the first page of Google. Yep. And you're like, first of all, this is like an existential crisis. It's like a main keyword, right? And as an entrepreneur, you're kind of like out there, making your way in the world, and suddenly something just took it away from you. But that thing is like, it's like the modern equivalent of like a storm, like it's weather, but the weather is like the friggin' Google machine, right? And like, so the AI machine in the sky just decided that your beautiful piece of content, the cornerstone to like your content marketing strategy, is not as good as the mindless drivel that your competitor just AI'd up, right? So you're like, this is terrible. If you're an SEO, you're like, I put a lot of work into that thing, and I thought it was the best. So then you look at theirs, and you're like, it's pretty good. I think mine is better, but you're left with this thing. Well, how do I compare theirs to mine I mean, it's going to take a lot of time, but is it going to make an impact? And, so you got these helpful content updates and sort of like the evolving landscape of search. And what you need is a co-pilot to help you say, like, what questions are they answering? This is what Rivalflow does. What questions are they answering? We read their page with AI. We read it with ChatGPT. We say, what questions are they answering that you're not? Which questions are they answering more thoroughly? And then we say, well, here's the AI generated content to make yours more thorough, more complete than theirs. And we help you fill in those gaps. And at this point, like when we started a year ago, this was kind of like a suggestion, like here's what AI would do. Now everything's evolved, the models have moved, everything's moving so fast. Since we launched, it was October 26th, 2023. We've made over 650 improvements to our launched product.
Wow.
And part of those things are, improvements with the GPT models, and a lot of them are us solving sort of the software engineering problems around kind of humanizing things and identifying any kind of like issues, so that at this point, what we have is content that flows directly into your page. We show you right where to place it. So all you have to do is look at it, approve it, and paste it into place. A couple months ago, we made it so that you can connect Rivalflow to your Google Search Console. So to give you that origin story that you're asking for, we built Rivalflow originally to solve SpyFu's problem, right? We wanted to do some content updates. I sort of made this quick and dirty thing to just test this idea that I had. I made it over a weekend, and so we ran it on our stuff. And the very first blog post that we did was like on I don't know, types of backlinks, I believe was what it was. It's types of backlinks. So our competitors are pretty strong in that space.
Yep.
We go through the process, we post our update, and 6 days later, we see a chart that looks like this. Goes just like a exact boom, right up
and right hockey stick there.
Like an instantaneous lift.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my God. Okay, hopefully this sticks, right? Hopefully that stays. And it turns out it does. And then now that we've got everybody's data flowing into Google Search Console, I can tell you definitively across thousands of customers, that we have like this thing just works, right? We have about 30% of pages wind up looking like this, and the rest that don't look like this don't go down. They just stay flat. Some pages it just doesn't work on. But about 30% of them, it does this, and it does it in about 8 days. It's, I'm very skeptical of things that look like this, where people say that it's going to be a win for you. But if you go back to the ground truth about what we're doing, we're answering questions that your competitors are answering that you're not, so that it makes a better piece of content for Google. And observing, watching what Google's, been doing and what they've valued for the last 17 years. This is in line with their long-term thing. They want to they want a user to type in a search and for them to go to a page and get that answer.
Yep.
That's it. That's what we're doing.
A trusted answer.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
There's so many thoughts that have gone through my mind in just the last couple of minutes, but one of them is that, the whole idea of kind of the MVP of a product, you kind of the creation cycle, and you test and you iterate and you get feedback. If you've done it 650 times in the last, 12 months, I mean, Eric Ries would need you to use you as a case study in his next book about, how to launch that MVP and iterate. That's not iteration. That's that is quantum iteration. You're
right. No, I mean, you're absolutely right. It isn't super easy especially when you have a product that's simple, right? Because it's really easy to just be like, oh, let's just add on a bunch of advanced features, or but that's not what we want to do. What we want to do is make it continue to make it easier and more foolproof, and just sort of solving every user problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you like where these ideas come from, because it's funny you mentioned that, because I'm actually going to give a like kind of the intro to my Rivalflow 2.0 launch presentation is actually where we come up with the ideas. And some of them we had already planned on doing, like we have like, unlimited team members and that kind of thing. It's just stuff that we launched with that we didn't have. And so that's an improvement that so there's some things that we already know that we wanted to do. But the best thing about launching a product, I think that it's an important thing to get it out the door as quickly as you can. That's why we call it an MVP, right? Minimum viable product. And I think that that's like sort of a lot of entrepreneurs will want to like launch the perfect product, right? But the problem is that it's perfect in your mind. And weirdly, we have these weird conceptions. We fall in love with our own products. We fall in love with our own ideas. I'm an idea person. I come up with a lot of ideas. I mean, it's kind of weird to say that, but because it makes me sound scatterbrained. But actually, I think the key is to share your idea as quickly as you possibly can. And I'm saying, like, if you have something you think it's all right, share it within like 30 minutes. Just get it out of your head to anybody, literally.
That's
so
validation.
It just has to leave. Because you can come back to it. But if you like glorify it in your brain, then it becomes something that you feel like you need to do. But if you get it out there, similar thing with products, right? You want to get it out the door, because then the product that you're in love with starts becoming everybody else's. It's not my product anymore. It's our product. It's your product, right? And so we immediately get real customers into it, using it. And like, I'm on the phone with them, like on day 2, like we launch.
Wow.
The next day I'm on, we make a few hundred sales. The next day I'm like on a call with somebody, and we're literally making, like white labeling for them, because they know how they want to use it. It's so I would say that like 400 of the features or 400 of the improvements are customer driven, and
Yeah. I mean, I would think that, that's probably a conservative number if you actually maybe went back and looked at that, because I mean, with that feedback loop, that's who's driving probably the majority of your changes. But how do you balance the idea of just, hey, I mean, is there a minimum threshold that has to be met by, for feedback before you consider that feature? I mean, we've had other guests on that talk about, hey, we want to launch that product and we want to stay true to that North Star, and not just keep adding a bunch of stuff, because it's hard to A/B test when you're using the whole alphabet. So
that's true.
How do you balance that?
So we like when something's like so here's what I do every day. I look at users that have signed up, and then I go in and I actually like experience what they've experienced, and I see if they ran into anything that I don't think is perfect. And then we like solve that, right? So that's actual users coming in and doing things. And this is like, so like we're dealing with 2 things that are relatively unpredictable. It's great if you have like a product where you have like numbers coming in and numbers going out. In this case, we've got the internet coming in and AI joining it and like outputting. So it's like we've got 2 vectors of entropy, like just randomness can happen. So we're constantly trying to figure out, well, how do we parse a web page better in order to feed into the AI and then get the proper results back so that we're making the best possible recommendations. So that's a good bit of it. We kind of know what we're trying to do. We're trying to help people improve their existing content, period. Right? And so one of the things that's like a little bit harder, a little bit less predictable, but we've just launched yesterday. What day is today? Tuesday? Yeah, yesterday. So we just launched it yesterday, which is the ability to take like a page. Well, let me tell you how Rivalflow works, right? Like my philosophy and the reason that everybody that it works for everyone and doesn't hurt anyone is that is that if you ride sort of the wave, like using a surfing analogy, you ride the wave that Google is giving you. And I'm saying the wave is what they think that you're authoritative on. It's your keyword vectors,
Right.
right? So we want to amplify, and improve on those vectors, right? Rather than trying to swim against the current.
Yeah.
Like you may think what the page should rank on, but Google's giving you like their opinion. They're saying, I think you rank on these ones. I think you're authoritative on these. Look, every time I do this with my hand, it wants to follow me. So my theory is you're going to get predictably good results if you ride that wave. My hands are all over the place.
That's right. Hey, you got to watch this on YouTube. This adds to the entertainment here as the entertainment value. Tell me if you have two competing customers that have similar sites that are virtually direct competitors of each other, and both of them are using Rivalflow. Is this like a race to the top? I mean, are they continually improving each other? Like, is it competing? Is it that granular in its analysis, or is it's just kind of buried in the blue ocean of the internet?
So, I mean, there's a lot of keywords and then a lot of people on the SERP. So we actually do sort of value a bit of the diversity. And so we actually look at the entire SERP, right? So it's pretty unlikely that we're going to identify the same competitor over and over and over again. It used to be when we first launched, we used your direct competitor, we used your competitors, and we would calculate the competitors based on keyword overlap and really focus on that as kind of the biggest predictor of the content that we would recommend. So we're real versed, with lots of history of making these kind of recommendations using keyword data. But we weren't really that versed in looking at content and saying this specific piece of content is the best competitor on the SERP for you, right? And that's like how we can leverage the LLMs, the AI, is to do that. So our first stab at like a recommendation algorithm, like what's the best competitor, was based on kind of like the keyword math. And now we're leveraging that keyword math to kind of like guide the prediction, but we're really using a lot more of the AI to like examine the content and give you the best recommendation there. And it's so much better. Like, it's like, it used to be that we would give you like a recommendation for a competitor. This is the page that you should compare yourself against in order to improve your content. I would look at it as an expert. I'll call myself an expert. I would look at it as an expert and I'd be like, this is good, but I could choose a better one on the SERP with my own human intuition and whatever, with my own expertise. Now I cannot beat it. It's better than I am, or it's as good as I am. I think but it's a jillion times faster, right? So
it's like Bobby Fischer playing Watson, in chess. I mean, there's a point that Bobby can't beat him anymore, for sure. Is there I mean, it sounds like to me that Rivalflow is leveraging kind of this best marriage of quantity and quality, as far as SEO is concerned. So, and if it's examining content and whatever, it is beating just the quantity play. We're just going to bombard you with content.
Right.
We're just going to dump a lot of content on it and hope we're going to, rank high just by sheer volume,
Right.
What's the logical outcome of, seeing the quantity and quality marriage, happening in this?
Yeah. I think that what we want is our thoughts polished, right? I think that that's what AI does well for us, right? We want to say, I have an idea and I'm gonna tell you my idea, and I'm going to and it's original and it's unique and it's good. And then I want that polished into a piece of content that's consumable. And oftentimes we take an idea, a core thesis, a core, something, a nugget of wisdom, right?
Mm.
And then you have to like, build, some content around it and an infographic and, like that core human wisdom and all that stuff is stuff that we want to help rank, right? And so that's why we're focused exclusively on improving existing content, because I do think that there's a lot of generated stuff, and to some extent we might help people do some generating of new stuff, but like the thrust of Rivalflow is improve existing content with AI,
Yeah.
optimize your existing content. And the idea is those are your existing thoughts, So what we would want to do if we were to help people to generate stuff would be like, hey, talk to AI, or record your thoughts onto like something, right? Record your thoughts into Otter or whatever. We'll start from a transcript, and then we'll help you improve it from there. But I don't know that I'm super interested in just being like, whoosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was like kind of like the first idea. Oh, let's take SpyFu content, and then just like you click on a keyword and it'll generate an article. It's like, yeah, that's not going to work out super great for the world.
Right. Right. I love the using AI to kind of polish our thoughts. Is
Yeah.
is it thoughts or is it assumptions? I mean, at some level, I'm thinking that you just said, hey, I can make the assumption of that these are going to work, that you're going to rank high. This content is the most recognizable and usable in Google, and so. Are you making some of those assumptions as well in the process and saying, okay, but actually I need help to kind of validate these assumptions, or is it truly a LLM that's just going out there and just looking at content and saying what's ranking?
Are you asking how Rivalflow works?
Well, just the idea behind, it's one thing to just go out and search content, see what's going to rank, try to create content that kind of fits those parameters versus kind of making some assumptions, based on where you're starting from ground zero. So you're starting from a kind of a moving point. You're saying, I assume some of these things are true. Can Rivalflow validate those assumptions?
Oh, I see. Yeah, so like I think it's one thing to try to start from a starting point of like I want to create a piece of content that ranks on X,
Mm-hmm.
on some keyword. Um, I mean, I think that we could apply some like I think that like I think that you could chat with ChatGPT, and have it help you, come up with like an outline, and I think you could do that pretty well. I think that O1 would actually do a pretty good job of helping you kind of come up with a nice outline, if you wanted to do that. And then I think that it's probably important to give it your own insights,
Mm-hmm.
infuse that with like some of your thoughts, right? So
Yeah.
you could have an outline, and then you tell it, here's what I think about this, and you could tell it that in a variety of ways, and then from that, um, that's where we would start to be able to help. That's like I think
Mm-hmm.
like the best point for for us to say this is where improving existing content
Yeah.
comes in. We're
Yeah.
gonna go out and we're gonna say, okay, where are your blind spots? Where's your curse of knowledge? What is the best of breed doing? We're gonna bring that in and help you to organize and add sort of depth to your content.
It's interesting to think, this has only been around for, right at a year. And
Yeah.
so, you made 600 plus kind of changes or improvements, in the
Mhm.
the product itself. But what is, prognosticate a little bit. What does this look like, a year from now or 2 years from now? I mean, I know that, it's kind of like RAM storage, the difference in, the changes
Yeah.
we make every 6 months. I mean, AI is just exploding. And I love you talking about launching an MVP. If you wait till it's perfect, it's obsolete by the time
Mhm.
it hits the market, at this stage. So What do you see? Where do you see Rivalflow? What does Rivalflow 652.0
Yeah.
look like?
So one thing that where we're at now, where I didn't think we would be able to be at, is the ability to show you where to place this content. Like, here's where it goes. Like, right? Like originally it was like, here's the differences.
Hmm.
And now it's like, well, here's exactly where this goes. So I think that our next step is probably from that sort of placement perspective is literally trying to place it. Like we'll just write you approve the things, the content, and we'll just
Hmm.
add it into your article like live. Not, I mean, ultimately, what I would like to be able to do is say improve your content, and you push a button and it does it. That's the long term end game.
Yep.
But some of the things that I want that we'll be working on in the next few months is like humanizing the content.
Hmm.
So like adding in those quotes,
Yep.
right? So I want the content that comes from it to sometimes be in your voice, or I want to use an analogy or a joke,
We're
right?
getting closer.
Yeah, right. So we're gonna give you the stuff, and then we're gonna give you the ability to add some input,
Mm.
some
Yep.
humanization to it. So it'll have your soul, right? Um, that's that's in active development. So that'll come, probably by the end of the year or the beginning of next year. And then I want to get into some stuff where we're adding not just text, but some of the visuals, and not just like AI generated, you know, content, but real sort of visuals, infographic type stuff. Yeah, that's
What
my
I mean, this is web based. This is, I mean, primarily focused on your website, or is this multi-channel? Is this like, I mean, we can use this to for the different social networks that are out there? Is this can improve LinkedIn? This can improve, other marketing channels that you use. What's the overlap there?
Oh yeah, that's a great point. So yeah, I mean basically Rivalflow is designed to operate on, on a web page, but there's um one thing that we should do is help you to kind of like carve up those pieces of content into social media
Hmm.
chunks, so little
Yep.
pieces that you can blast out and help yourself to promote your content.
That's
Um,
715.0
yeah,
iteration right
no,
there.
I mean, it's could honestly, like, right, like these things move fast, and the AI development stack also helps. It's like this accelerating accelerator of acceleration.
Yep.
It's Inception. It's pretty cool. Um, I was just writing some code. I haven't written like a lot of code in
You don't have to
lately.
anymore. That's right.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, no, it's interesting. One general theme, kind of like this is like a pro life tip for like the time that we live in, right? And that is that if there's something that you looked at like a year ago, that's like an AI thing,
Uh-huh.
look at it again
Yeah.
now, right? Because if it didn't meet your expectations then, check it out now.
Yeah.
I looked at like development tools. Yeah, I was doing some coding with ChatGPT, like I don't know, even 6 months ago, right? And I was like, it's just it kind of like reaches this sort of local um, like maximum. It can't quite get me past this one point, and so I might as well have written it myself, so then at least I'd be in the proper mindset to debug it, because I kind of wind up having to anyway. Now, there's like a dev tool that I was using yesterday called it used to be called Claude Dev. It's called Klein now.
Hmm.
And man, this thing just does all the stuff. Like it opens up all the files, it makes the editing right there in front of me, and it's kind of continuous. You don't have to go into ChatGPT, and so pretty big game changers like across the board. Like check out the tools that you thought weren't quite there yet now, and they'll probably meet your expectations. I would say that Rival
Yeah.
Flow is in that camp. Actually, there's um, so many.
And you don't have to go back a year. You can go back a month. and
Honestly,
see a difference.
honestly,
I'm
yeah.
expecting a call in 30 minutes. You know, if you're going to have a new idea on how to repurpose content using Rivalflow. You're going to say,
Yeah.
"Hey, I had this idea. I just want to run it by you and just see what your thoughts are here."
Yeah.
So, you know, the entrepreneurial wheel never stops spinning. That is
No.
absolutely true. But I mean,
Yeah.
as you know, a lot of our listeners are, you know, really focused in the kind of the marketing agency space. I mean, this
Hmm.
sounds like such a perfect play for those that are, you know, trying to, you know, deliver great marketing services to their clients. And where do you see that, you know, where is that integration? If you're speaking to marketing agency owners, I mean, what is the, you know, hey, day one play here that, you know, where Rival Flow fits in?
Oh yeah, totally. You know what's interesting is that when one of the biggest kind of like biggest mistakes or you know yeah, like whenever you launch a product, you're wrong about something, right? And your goal is to figure out what that thing is that you're wrong about because you don't know what it is, right? But you're definitely wrong about something. And so the thing that I was wrong about, one of them was how agencies actually want to use Rivalflow.
Mm,
And so my expectation was that they would kind of use them on relatively big sites. But and so then we sort of aligned our pricing and kind of like the structure of the accounts with that expectation. But what like those people that I talked to on day one were agencies, you
yeah.
know, and it turns out that what they were using it for, wanted to use it for, is relatively small businesses.
Hmm.
And so the product didn't work great for small businesses, didn't really work great for local businesses, didn't work great for content that didn't rank, like
Hmm.
didn't rank on, you know, any of the billion keywords that we search every month, right? Yeah, they rank, you know, if you
That's
do
right.
like a very
Joe's
specific search.
plumbing in the little town
Yeah,
in Arkansas. He's not going to
yeah,
make page one. That's right.
yeah, exactly. So, so we made it work for those guys, and we made an agency pricing. You know, like agency pricing was originally like contact us, which personally I hate contact
Hmm.
us for pricing. I always feel like I'm gonna get screwed. I just like I don't really want to like hop on a
I got to
call,
hide
man.
this. If I can't
No,
tell
yeah,
you
yeah.
up front, I got to hide it. Yeah.
I'm all about the transparent pricing, but I just literally didn't know how they wanted to use it. And so I wanted to talk to some people, and I talked to about 100 agency owners. Um, and so what we wind up with is like this really flexible pricing where you can kind of like every client only costs you like $10, you know, and $10 a month, and then you can share all of your sort of writing projects, which is the expensive AI part, across all of them. So
Hmm.
you, if you want to do a whole bunch of work for one client in 1 month, and then none for them for a few months, you're kind of in this ability to burst, and you're not paying for that at each for each account.
Yeah.
Plus, you get all the reporting. You can add clients and remove them, like without without kind of like this bloat.
Right.
So I wanted to make it real flexible and just meet people exactly where they were, and so it's fantastic because like I have agency customers that'll charge anywhere between $100 and $1,000 to do a content update for
Hmm.
their customers, and they're basically paying us like about like a couple bucks, right? Like
Hmm.
it's
Exactly.
such great margin
Those are
in a
good margins.
time,
That's right.
yeah, in a time where you're kind of like you got like the AI stuff is really putting a lot of pressure on you from like the
Hmm.
creation perspective.
Hmm.
Well, the good news is for the agencies is that while people are able to create new content a lot more efficiently, it's this it's this they've got this massive content now that they need to update
Hmm.
and refresh and
Yep.
and double down on. So that's a lot harder, and really there's only Rivalflow. We're
Yep.
the only ones that are doing this. There's like obviously there's actually platforms that do things, but they're all doing it kind of the old way with like
Hmm.
keyword density maps and crap like that, which come on.
Hmm.
So I mean,
That's so 2023.
yeah, I know
That's right.
totally.
That's right. It's interesting as you're talking, and I'm thinking, you know, kind of put my agency, you know, uh owner hat on, that I'm thinking, you know, if I don't do this, my competitors will. at
Yeah.
the end of the day. So it's one of those choices. You can either jump on the boat or watch the boat sail off in the harbor. I mean, it's out of the harbor. So it is. There's so many use cases that I think just come to mind as that this is a necessity, moving forward of being able to compete. With and even smaller agencies can compete with the big boys on some of these same playing fields that we're looking at. But
For
just wrap
sure.
us up today. What have I not asked you about that would just be a good way to wrap this up? And then we want to jump into the lightning round.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll just continue that kind of thought that you had there. I don't have a great wrap, but the thought there is that one of the things that makes it easier to compete with the big guys using Rivalflow is that everybody knows and sees, and they kind of like in this sort of landscape of SEO, this time, it's harder to get a new piece of content to rank because everybody's putting a
Mm-hmm.
lot of stuff
Yeah.
out, and a lot of it's not great. So you can get a lot better lift and a more leverage with that existing content. The problem is, the fundamental problem for agencies is that historically, those kind of updating existing content requires more wisdom, and wisdom is an expensive thing, right? So you have to pay somebody more, and they have to spend more time essentially to get that lift. But that's really kind of the lift that's out there, right? So
Mm.
what Rivalflow does is it takes that like skill and wisdom level and makes it a lot easy. There's like a lot less like wisdom necessary. You can just kind of like give it to somebody, could be an intern, and just be like, follow what this thing says. And when you do that, good things will happen. So that's another piece of leverage for agencies, and especially small ones, in order to
Mm-hmm.
compete.
Yeah. Or yeah, I mean, yeah, it's grow or die, the whole
Yeah, and I
idea
mean,
for
I
sure.
mean, the reason that I keep doing this stuff, right, is because SpyFu has been pretty successful for me. I'm really in it to try to create as much value for people in the world and solve problems. And to me, I felt like the AI thing is a double-edged sword
Yeah.
for a lot of agency folks who have always been
Mm.
my best customers.
Mm.
And so really, speaking from the heart, that's actually what I'm trying to solve,
Yep.
is to help people navigate this kind of new world.
I mean, it is the whole, rising tide lifts all boats type thing. So it's one of those things. It is a vicious cycle. So they're your
Yeah.
clients, and you
Yeah.
want them to stay afloat. The
Yep.
whole
Yep.
idea. But all right, we're gonna jump into their lightning round, and
Right
just
on.
very quick answers, quick questions, quick answers. No thought, just boom. First thing that comes to
Okay, I'll,
mind.
I'll
So
work. Yeah, a hot take. Here we go.
that's right. Did you get along with your parents growing up?
I did, and except at one point, it's funny enough. My dad and I had like kind of our most, I guess, aggressive arguments over my computer, because my dad believed that a computer was like a glorified typewriter, and so I had like a paper route. I went and did. I earned all of the money to buy my first computer, and then guess what? My dad like started to do his accounting on it, and then he was like, he was like this sort of teenage thing. He was like, "You gotta leave or whatever. You gotta follow my rules, or I gotta leave." Of course, I have kids at this age now. I do the same thing, but I'm like, "Well, I'll take my computer with me," and he's like, "You can't take the computer." So that's how that was.
I love it.
Yeah,
Man, do you have siblings?
I have a sister. Yep, an older sister.
Currently have any pets?
I have a dog. He's the best dog. He's an Australian Shepherd. He's a good boy. I have a cat. It's a Persian cat. The best cat I've ever had. My wife
Wow.
has like 6 chickens. We have a turtle. I found a pigeon in my yard that was like stumbling around, and it now lives, and it's lived there for like the last couple of weeks, several, like, almost a month now, just hanging out in my atrium. And I believe that's all the pets we have. There's
So
probably
the
some
Robert
fish.
Zoo is what sounds like that. Or
It's
maybe it's
mostly
a
not
veterinary
me.
hospital. That's right. Do you have
Yeah,
kids?
I have two boys, 14 and almost 12.
What time on a business day or work day, what time do you wake up in the morning?
Well, I think that my natural sleep cycle would put me to wake up at about like 10:30 and go to bed at like 3 a.m.
Oh, you see,
But
your answer my next question too. I was going to ask you what time do you go to bed. So your
yeah,
circadian rhythm. Maybe you're in the wrong time zone. Maybe you need to move about
yeah.
6 hours or
But
six time zones east or something.
but it moves around a lot, right? So it
Yeah.
depends on what I need to do. Like if I'm like thinking a lot or like doing research or like writing code or building a product, then I'll stay up late. And if I'm doing marketing and stuff like that, I wake up early.
Yeah.
So it just depends on if I'm like more meeting and team focused
Based
or
on
deep
need.
thought
Yeah.
focused.
I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. Ideal vacation spot, money, not an object. Anywhere in the world.
Um,
You're gonna say it's some
that
ski
is a
slope in
good
Colorado
question.
or
I like
maybe Big
traveling,
Sur.
but like basically I surf and I have a beach house, and so like like okay, so I'm more of a beach person than a mountain person.
Yep.
There's a lot of places that I have been, and I can't think of like exactly where I want to go that I haven't right now. I mean, I haven't been to Japan, so that'd be cool.
I
I
have
also
been there.
haven't
It's
like
a cool
snowboarded in
place.
Japan, so I should probably
Yep.
snowboard in Japan before I like lose my snowboarding
That's
like
right.
knees or something.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Yeah. Yeah, your human 2.0 version may not be able to snowboard, but
hmm
how does faith affect the way you do business?
well, I think I just try to do the right thing and like never have any regrets,
Yep.
right? So ultimately, my goal is to produce as much value in the world before I die, and that's just kind of like what I feel like my purpose is.
Kind of
So
your
I just
driver.
follow that, and yeah, that's try to help people out as much as I possibly can.
You are king for the day and in the marketing world. What is one thing you would change about the marketing climate?
In the
You know how many
marketing,
people answer that the first response and when I ask that question is, wow.
yeah,
Maybe
that's a
I don't know
tough
if it's the
one.
power thing or they've never thought about that.
Uh,
So yeah.
I mean, I would. Okay, so I would probably make people uh way less worried about like the sort of idiosyncrasies of digital privacy. It gets in the way
Mhm.
for a lot of marketers, and there's a lot of hysteria around it, and it really doesn't make that much. It's not that bad. I think it's fine. There's like worse things to worry about in the world, actually. I mean,
Yes.
you know,
There's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there that are kind of driving maybe that hysteria a little bit too. So
people
I
don't
love
care
that.
that much
There is a
about
balance.
what you're browsing.
Yep.
Nobody cares that much. It's
It's a
more
blue
about like,
ocean.
yeah,
There's so much information. It's kind of hard to find me in that blue ocean of data for sure. But
hmm
man, this has been fun. It's been a while since I've kind of laughed this much and during a 40 minute, chat. But I mean the things that you said, just your expressions were so engaging that, as we walk through your story. But man, just thank you for just coming and just sharing your expertise and coming back on the show and just really speaking directly to our primary audience here and just really helping marketing agencies grow and scale their business and caring so much about that. I mean, bravo and thanks for congratulations on the launch of this product and we're anxious to see it's hockey upward right hockey stick growth as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
So. And thanks
Thanks for
again. I appreciate you just taking the time and man, just have a great week. Look forward to checking in later.
Thank you. It was great to be here.
Thank you for tuning in to another great episode of the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where we provide the information you need from successful leading marketers to build and grow your digital marketing agency. To learn more, go to umbrellaus.com.